Mr. Sir Sports. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers, so thank all you guys for that. If you want to join the family and be entered to win a MacBook Pro and experience all the NFL news that's important that you need to know, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you're notified when our videos go live. When we hit 10,000 subscribers, we're giving away a MacBook Pro, like I mentioned. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video.
Cleveland Browns could use Shedeur Sanders as their backup quarterback to Joe Flacco. Obviously, they have 4 quarterbacks on the roster right now with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Obviously, Gabriel was drafted 2 rounds ahead of Sanders, but based on what we've seen in OTAs and minicamp, Shedeur Sanders has looked the part and looked better than Dillon Gabriel based off of the videos and reports. So based on this quarterback room, how do you think it shakes out? And do you think Shedeur has an opportunity to be the backup to Joe Flacco? Or do you think they're going to end up going with someone else?
No, I think he definitely is in the running for that backup role. And I feel like that's where he's going to start the season. I think he's going to be the number 2 guy. And we'll have to see how Joe Flacco plays, because Flacco's had some, like last year with the Colts, he had a couple good moments and then had a couple moments where he wasn't so good. And I think if he's going to be the backup, and Flacco, he's old, obviously, he's in his 40s. If he falters in any way or struggles a little bit, I feel like Stefanski's going to go to Shedeur and say, hey, let me see what you're made of. I know that the draft interviews weren't great, and there were a lot of narratives surrounding Shedeur. And to be honest, if he's in that backup role and he gets in, he has the opportunity to crush every narrative surrounding him and forge a new one. So I think it doesn't really matter where you're drafted. You get an opportunity, as Tom Brady says, all you can do is just make the most of it. So I think that he'd be in a good spot as the backup to learn from someone like Flacco, who's won a Super Bowl. But then again, we'll see. So do you think he's going to end up winning that backup job, and do you think he can get in by like week 7 or so?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I think around like week 7 to 8, maybe week 9, Shedeur will be the starting quarterback. I think they need to see what they have in him this year. I think trading back in the draft this year was also something interesting to consider, just because next year's draft is supposed to be a lot heavier with quarterbacks. So since the Browns are expected to be trash and the Jaguars are also expected to not be very good, both picks could be in the top 10, and that could end up leading to a trade up in the draft for the Browns next year to get a quarterback in the top 5 if they needed to do that. And I think if they choose to do that, I think they need to see what they have in these rookies. And I think Joe Flacco will be the starter for a little bit. And whether they go to Dillon Gabriel first or they go to Shedeur Sanders first, I think both guys probably get an opportunity to play at some point. I think at the end of the season, my prediction is really Joe Flacco probably starts until week 7. And then their record stinks, and they're like, we need to see what we have in these guys. Shedeur ends up starting the next probably 8 or 9 games, whatever, until maybe the last 2 games of the year when they're out of it. And then maybe the last 2 games of the year, they're like, oh, we're out of it. We've seen what we need to see from Shedeur. And maybe he's good, maybe he's bad, but they want to see what they have in Dillon Gabriel. So maybe they start him the last couple games. And then they have really a good idea of what those 2 guys are, so they can decide, hey, are these guys somebody we can rely on in the future, could be our franchise guy, or do we need to get rid of these guys and trade up in the draft with these 2 high picks we have next year to get a guy at the top of the draft that could be our franchise quarterback? So I think those are the scenarios for them, and I think the Browns have a really good setup right now. They have a veteran player in Flacco who can teach these young guys and then give them an opportunity a month or 2 into the season to see what they got. And if they're not it, then they can pivot and trade up next year in the draft to get somebody else. So, yeah, I think that's the Browns' plan, and we'll see how it works out.